Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Authentic and Unapologetic. Always wanted to say that. I don't know how exciting it's going to be, but we're going to just try to drop a few divine nuggets about spiritual wisdom. So today, I want to talk about divine timing. I must have to say out loud once a day, it's divine timing. Well, it's divine timing. It's just not going to happen when we want it to happen. It's going to, it happens when God wants it to happen. And, it kind of sucks that we can't be in control of everything that we want to go and do in our life when we want to do it, the way we want to do it, especially when, if you're really focused on something and you're putting a lot of energy into it and it just doesn't happen. It gets frustrating. And guess what? If you want to be like a salmon swimming upstream, you can keep, banging your head against the wall and, crying your coffee. But the fact is shit doesn't happen until God says it's going to happen. It's extremely frustrating, but especially when you're in the middle of like a big shift or some transformation of some kind, we want it to happen now. I've been waiting for some stuff to happen for years now, right? And it's not up to me. I have to just keep following the breadcrumbs that Spirit is dropping. Talking to me through my intuition and, do this next. All right, great. Now I want you to do this. Now you need to move in this direction. And it's like, okay. And then eventually, you know what? It'll all come together for me. It'll come together for you. But it doesn't come together when we want it to, and it can get extremely frustrating. And so one of the things that I think is important when you're on this spiritual path is to get comfortable with the idea that you don't know, number one, and you don't know when. And it's not up to you. Because what you don't understand, and I have to constantly remind myself of this, is that we always think, it's just about what we're doing. And if I've done my part, then why aren't my blessings coming? Why aren't my prayers being answered? Why aren't my manifestations manifesting? Well, it's more complicated because it often does involve other people and other situations. And what you don't know and what you never are going to know is what the Spirit has to do in the lives of the people for them to do what they've got to do for everything to finally come into alignment. And sometimes we may be sitting and waiting because we've done what we need to do. And we're waiting because somebody else hasn't done what they've needed to do yet. And either, they're doing it at the speed and pace that they're supposed to be doing it at, or Spirit's really got to up the ante and make some shit happen so that, everything can start to kind of get into alignment so that we can manifest what we want to manifest. But it's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie, especially when you are working hard, you're being a good person, you're doing everything that you could possibly do, and you just feel like everything's stagnant. It's like everything's stuck. It's like, why can't we just get this thing moving? Why won't this happen? There's no logical sense to it, why haven't these people, finished doing what they're supposed to do because that's affecting us. And, and what you got to just relax. You got to take a deep breath and say, it's going to happen in divine timing, because God's always got it. He always knows what's best for you. He always knows when the best timing is for you. All you got to do is stop and think about something in your life where it's something you wanted so badly. You would have given up your pinky for this thing, and it never works out for you. And then ultimately, something better happened. Like a perfect example of this would be, you want this job so bad, and you go on. Okay, so I changed careers. Say, call it like 20 years ago. Totally different career path. And I had 5 interviews with this particular company. And I was the only final candidate who had no prior experience. So the fact that I had even gotten to the final stage of this process was sort of miraculous in and of itself. And of course, I got the letter that says, or actually it was an email that said, thank you so much, but we really had to go with the candidate that had the more proven track record. And so I was like, so disappointed, because it was like my ticket out of that other career. And this would have been lucrative, and it would have just been great. And it didn't end up working out. And then ultimately what happened is I found something better. I found something better. And, it's like, how many times has this happened to you where, you had your heart set on something, it didn't work, and ultimately it ended up working out for you that it didn't work out. Or there's so many examples of this type of thing that you could probably come up with in your own life. I mean, I can think of another time where I was supposed to go on a trip, missed the flight, whatever, didn't end up, the trip never ended up happening. We had to punt at the last minute and came up with a totally better plan. We had a way better trip. It's like, you never know why you hit roadblocks or why things don't happen in your life. And it's because God's always got your best interests in mind. And he's always going to put something in your path that is ultimately going to be better for you. Sometimes they put something in your path that doesn't seem like it's better for you, but ultimately it is better for you, because it's going to make you grow. Because remember now, I talked about this so many times on this channel, that the whole point is for us to grow spiritually. But Spirit's always got you. And so sometimes it's really hard, or it's easy to forget that, because we get just so locked in our 3D life that we want what we want when we want it. And Spirit's got a different plan. And so if you can sort of just breathe when things aren't going your way and you're getting frustrated, just stop and say, it'll happen in divine timing. God's got my back. And if it doesn't work out, it's going to be because he'll have something better for me. And if you can settle into that, you will honestly and truly live with a more peaceful, you'll have a more peaceful existence, and you will have less anxiety, because a lot of anxiety is about worrying about things that aren't even in your control to begin with. So quick and down and dirty today, I just wanted to talk about, divine timing, and the fact that God's always got your best interest in mind, and not to get so frustrated and hung up on what you want, because God always knows what's best. Have a great day, everybody. I'll catch you next time.